check?
Sure.
This is just him doing a mic check.
Let's go around the room. Jamie, mic check. Jamie.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah.
Sarge, we good? Tucker, we good?
Yes.
Good. All righty. Tristan, good, bud?
You want to do it, give it a minute? Yeah, just a minute, that'd be fine.
Sure, sure.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1
Sure.
minute.
You guys on? I never saw.
1
I
minute,
gave you one. I didn't.
45 seconds, stand by.
Okay.
30?
30.
Yes.
15? Everybody good?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Good evening, everyone. I'm Officer Truman Fitzgerald of the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division. And right now, the Birmingham Police Department is announcing 2 major arrests in cases that have claimed multiple victims in our city. Let's walk you back. On Saturday, July 13th, 2024, North Precinct officers were dispatched to a report of multiple people shot at the Trendsetters Lounge in the 3400 block of 27th Street North. In that case, we lost 4 victims, and we're going to name each victim. We lost Lorandis Anderson. We lost Stevie McGee. We lost Markeisha Giddings. We lost Angela Weatherspoon. We also report that at least 10 additional victims were shot. Today, we announce the arrest of 2 suspects in that mass shooting case. The first suspect, Damian McDaniel, 22 years old, of Bessemer, Alabama. Many of you may know Damian McDaniel has been responsible for numerous homicides in our city, and we'll discuss that more here later. The second suspect in that case is Hatarius Woods. That's Hatarius Woods. We have him as 27 years old of Fairfield, Alabama. Let's fast forward to August. On Tuesday, August 13th, North Precinct officers again were dispatched to the 3100 block of 43rd Avenue North on report of a stolen vehicle registering in the Vice Hills housing community. Our officers got there. They heard shots being fired. They observed suspects getting into a stolen vehicle. One of our officers fired shots at the armed homicide suspects. Did not hit them. They fled the scene. We later discovered that 61-year-old Charlie Moore was shot and killed inside of an apartment. We announced the arrest in that case of Damian McDaniel and Hatarius Woods. Let us point out that Damian McDaniel has been responsible for up to 11 murders in our city. Hatarius Woods also, as you've heard, was involved in multiple murders in our city. How did we get here? Damian McDaniel, along with many other suspects that we announced their arrest in October, were involved in a shooting at the 604 Lounge, the Hush mass shooting, the investigation into the homicide of Jamarcus McIntyre, and then you fast forward to tonight where we announced the arrest of Damian McDaniel for at least 5 other murders. We would not be here, first and foremost, if it wasn't for you, our community. We had over 300 tips come in that Hush shooting. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the hours put into these investigations by our patrol officers, our investigators, and our local state and federal partners. We can point out that our detectives, they do not stop investigating these cases once an arrest has been made. They continue to investigate. They continue to seek justice, not only in the case that they're working, but other cases. These arrests were made because our investigators did not stop working. We partnered with our local, state, and federal partners. We partnered with one of our greatest assets here in Jefferson County, which is our district attorney's office. And because of that partnership, because of that meeting of the minds, because of that blending tactics in discussing facts of this case, we were able to get these violent offenders off of our streets. So if anyone needs me to go over some of the cases that were involved as far as names, we would be happy to do that. Let us point out this. The Jefferson County District Attorney's Office reported to us that these suspects, along with the other suspects that we announced in the previous cases that were arrested with Damian McDaniel, have all been indicted. Why is that important? Normally, an indictment in Alabama takes up to 18 months once law enforcement makes an arrest. These individuals have already been indicted, which means there's only a few steps before they are before a jury of their peers and tried in court. So we want our public to know, if you have any additional information on Damian McDaniel, on Hatavius Woods, or any of the individuals that were involved in these cases, we want you to know these individuals are in the Jefferson County Jail, they have no bond, and they've already been indicted in these cases. Any questions?
Can you talk about McDaniel's motive? Was he paid to do any of these shootings?
So we don't want to go into the motive because it will affect the case. And as we pointed out, these cases have been indicted. So a trial is expected soon.
Can you talk a little bit about the arrest that was made today?
Today, our BPD crime reduction team arrested Hatavius Woods on the west side of Birmingham. And now's a great time to highlight some women and men that we often don't thank enough. And those are the women and men of our Special Operations Bureau. As we've pointed out, some of these individuals have been responsible for up to 11 murders. Who goes and gets these people when those warrants are signed? Who goes into danger and gets these people? The women and men of the Birmingham Police Department's Special Operations Bureau, and they answer that call each and every time their phone goes off. So we can't thank them enough for what they mean to the Birmingham Police Department.
The arrest you made today, what time was that?
So it was around 4 p.m. that we arrested Woods.
In October, McDaniel was the only one who had been charged in connection to the Hush Lounge shooting. Is he still the only one who was connected to Hush Lounge, or have others been?
So there are multiple shooters in that case. McDaniel's the only shooter that we have in custody. Let us point out this. It very well may be that some of these individuals that we already have in custody may have been with McDaniel. But that's where those hours and hours and hours of investigative work comes to play. And we have so many great resources here because our federal partners are assisting us, and the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office is doing so much work behind the scenes.
With such an extended history of offenses with McDaniel, how much time and resources, how big of a priority was this for the Birmingham Police Department as far as?
Again, we can't state enough how many hours and hours and hours that our officers and partners have put into this case. We often say at the Birmingham Police Department that these individuals don't just stop with one murder. I don't think there's a single instance that sums up that statement more than these arrests today. These individuals started back in July, and they did not stop from September. We often say on these crime scenes, we have a few select criminals that add to this crime and give Birmingham a bad name. Our homicides that have been committed from July to September, about 30% of them involve one of these individuals' names. So you have over 1/4 of the homicides in Birmingham being committed by just a select few of individuals. When we say on these scenes, it's important for us to get these violent offenders off the street. This is the perfect example of why.
This has got to make Birmingham a lot safer, getting these guys off the street. I mean, it sounds like y'all just cut the head off the snake.
Again, from July to September, these individuals were responsible for upwards to 30% of our homicides. Birmingham is most definitely a safer place with these individuals behind bars. And today we were happy to announce Operation Closeout being rolled out, which is our holiday initiative. So with Operation Closeout going on and these violent offenders off the street, we hope and pray that we have a safer holiday season. Go ahead, one second. Aaron?
For me, Daniel, how many charges and what is he being charged with?
So keep in mind, he is responsible for at least 11 murders. That's not just how many charges he has. He has upwards to 40 charges when you start looking at the victims that lost their life, the victims that were injured. And some of those charges where you have multiple victims are encompassed into one charge, which is capital murder. When you have 2 or more victims killed in one incident, that's encompassed into one capital murder charge. So if it appears he hasn't been charged for as many shootings as he's committed, that's not the case because they may be encompassed in a one count.
Do you believe that these men could be connected to other unsolved homicides that have yet to be announced yet?
Certainly. And that's why it's important that our investigators don't stop working just because we made an arrest. And we have seen great fruit because of that practice already being in place by our detectives. Yes, ma'am, Amy.
Are those the only 2 suspects in the Saturday, July 13th mass shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe the 4 people that died, were those all innocent bystanders, or was this a targeted shooting? Can you tell us who the target was?
So some of them were targeted. Some of them may have been innocent bystanders. What we'll do is we'll let the actual trial play out, and you'll hear in court who was the intended targets. Yes, sir.
Does Birmingham Police believe that there were hits, though, in these cases?
We most certainly are investigating some of these homicides as actual pay for hire murders.
Jeremy, with usually you guys have a problem with getting the public to hear information that happen with these homicides. I know you talked about the amount of tips that came in earlier. You know, how big is it? What does it say that the community came together and now you guys were able to get these extremely dangerous people off the streets because of that?
It shows you that our community is tired, and it shows you that our community is ready to partner with their Birmingham Police Department. And let us point this out. The night of the Hush shooting, we stood before you and we delivered a promise that we were going to hunt down, uncover, and arrest every person that took those community members' lives. We hope and pray, Birmingham, that you see we delivered on our promise. Thank you, everyone.